I said no. Stop. Oh my gosh, go away. No, I don't want to join your The Girls by Emma Cline. I really, really enjoyed this book. It was so good. What a way to come out the gate for a debut author. It was so good. Couple things before I get into this. If you read along with me, I really, really hope that that you leave like your thoughts down below. And if you haven't read it yet, one, there's going to be lots of spoilers, so if you care or don't care, cool. You know, that's up to you. So there's going to be lots of spoilers when we're talking about the main overall plot of the book. And two, there are some tough things to read about in this. There's some sexual content that involves young people, and there's some content that's going to be a little tough to get through. So if I would call trigger warnings for sexual content, some drug use. So just take care of yourself, do some research on the book, take care of your trigger warnings if it's something that bothers you. Lots of spoilers and some trigger warnings coming up, so be careful. The Girls by Emma Cline. I gave it a 5-star rating on Goodreads because I loved this book. The author's writing is super digestible. The story is simple to get through. I am endlessly fascinated by cults. If you went through my feed, be it YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, Prime, there's so many documentaries. Oh, that's funny because my shirt has pumpkin spice lattes on it. So I guess that makes me basic, but that's okay because I enjoy these things. I don't care if you think I'm basic. I have fun. Right now, I'm just going to go over the plot, what happens, and the main characters involved. So we are following the story of Evie Boyd, who is a 14 turning 15-year-old girl. Parents just got divorced, and her best friend are on the outs. So she's a little lonely, is looking for direction in the 60s, is looking for just something. She feels empty and listless and just needs some guidance. So she notices this group of girls that's been running around town, and she's like, so she becomes kind of infatuated with them. The leader of these young ladies is Suzanne, and that's who Evie like really imprints on. So Evie ends up meeting Suzanne, they start becoming friends, and she makes her way out to what is called the ranch where all these girls live. Those girls are led by a man named Russell. Russell is a musician. He's hoping to get a record deal because his message needs to be heard. And he's not the main focus of this book, which as it should be, it's the girls. So it's all the girls at the ranch that Russell has essentially dominion over. Things like they're not even allowed to cut their hair. That's something Russell tells them not to do. Russell befriends, a couple famous people to try to get him a record deal. It doesn't go through. Evie's becoming more and more infatuated with this lifestyle. She's more sort of essentially falling in love with Suzanne. That's really who she wants to be with. She likes Russell well enough, and but she's not super infatuated. It's not Russell that she's there for. She's there for Suzanne, and Suzanne is Russell's right-hand woman. Evie is falling down this rabbit hole. She's giving them her clothes. She is stealing money from her mother. She's buying food for them. She goes with them on food runs, which are essentially dumpster dives. And they have this big old van that they drive around town. Russell takes a shine to Evie. Suzanne's a little nervous about this because Evie lies about her age, but Suzanne kind of knows some things up. She's not dumb. And Russell has some experiences with Evie. Again, like I said, trigger warnings, these are some tough things to read about. There's some drug use, there's alcohol, and at first it was more the psychedelics, and then later they get into harder stuff, but that's for another time. So Evie is getting deeper in with these people. She is being expected to do things, to help out in different ways. Evie's mom notices money missing, that she can't really control her daughter, and she goes and lives with her dad for the rest of the summer before she gets shipped off to private school. Evie then runs away from her dad's house. Runs away, goes to the ranch. She had been gone for a little while, but she notices there's a big change. The girls are a lot more strung out. It's much more stressful. The music deal didn't go through, obviously. And things are not good. So then comes to a really infamous night that I'll get to comparisons later. Suzanne knows that Evie's not going to be able to handle this, but Evie begs to go anyway, and they take her along. Evie, hoping to pull back some more humanity from Suzanne, just lays her hand on Suzanne's hand, and is just trying to show a little bit of affection, trying to get back like that connection that Evie's senses has been lost. And then Suzanne freaks out, makes them stop the car, and she kicks Evie out. And then they go on to commit certain crimes that are just horrible, horrendous. But Evie doesn't know that. All she knows is that her friend, and someone she loves very deeply and very cares about and was more infatuated with than anything, just kicked her out of the car and left her behind. So she's devastated. She calls her dad's girlfriend to come pick her up and take her back home. She starts seeing news reports of people that were murdered, people that she knows, people that she knows of, the ex-wife and child and two friends of the record producer that turned down Russell were all killed. And they got away with it for a long time. They were traveling, they were on the run, they moved all over the place. It was hard to pin them down. At first it was hard to make the connection, then it was hard to pin them down. Now the book transitions back and forth between two timelines. Young Evie and older Evie. Older Evie is remembering these things happening to her. Like I said earlier, the author's writing is really digestible. This is an easy read in that space. The author has a very direct way of writing, and I really appreciate that. There are parts that I identified with as a teenage girl at one point as well, that I'm sure a lot of teenage girls would identify with, or a lot of women who were once teenage girls would identify with. Like this one passage: I waited to be told what was good about me. I wondered later if this was why there were so many more women than men at the ranch. All that time I spent readying myself. The articles that taught me life was really just a waiting room until someone noticed you. The boys had spent all that time becoming themselves. I think that's something a lot of people can identify with. Anyone is susceptible to a cult. I've learned that in many documentaries and interviews. There are tactics and there are ways to get anybody. There are ways to lure anybody to do something that they maybe wouldn't normally do. And those tactics are used not just for cult leaders. There's, it's used in propaganda. It's used in marketing to get you to think certain ways. Which one was it? It was that Allison Mack cult, or NXIVM. Haha, got it. So the girl who broke her silence about NXIVM was like, I said she would never thought that she would do this. You don't know you're in a cult until you're in it, and you've already done things that you wouldn't normally do, like allow yourself to be branded. This is heavily influenced by Charles Manson and the Charles Manson murders, if you didn't get that before. 1969, people were murdered. Charles Manson fancied himself a musician. He was going to get a record deal. You can also see hints of David Koresh in here, who was also a musician, also thought his message should be shared with the world no matter what, at any cost. They had a harem of women They had their main squeeze, but yeah, heavily influenced by Charles Manson and his girls at his ranch. There was a pretty good movie that came out in, I think, 2019. It's really new, and it's called Charlie Says, and it's about the three main women that carried out these murders, and their experiences in jail, and sort of learning that Charlie isn't what he portrays himself to be, and them coping with that. And it's not easy for them. It's sort of deprogramming. I gave this a 5-star rating on Goodreads. I really enjoyed it. So the next book that we're going to be reading, I don't have a physical copy of it. It's on my Kindle, which is not with me right now. We're going to be reading Homegoing by Ya Jesse. This is going to cover multiple generations. I'm very excited. I've been wanting to read this for a long time. So we're going to continue on quarter 3 with Homegoing by Ya Jesse. If you've read it, tell me what you thought about it. If you haven't read it yet, we're going to be reading it this quarter, and I'm excited. I'll talk to you all next time. I hope you enjoyed The Girls by Emma Cline, and we'll see ya.